I think the one big question that we as educators need to reflect on and answer once we commit to doing global citizenship education is this whole question surrounding what type of pedagogy should we adopt if we teach GCED? Or how should we teach GCED? By pedagogy, I don't only mean teaching strategies or identifying the best methodology for classroom instruction. I am talking about adopting a more progressive philosophy of learning and teaching. A pedagogy that is both informative and transformative. A pedagogy that is critical. And most importantly, I think, is a kind of pedagogy that is learner-centered. We need to start reflecting on our own teaching philosophy and practice. We need to revisit, rethink, and even reform our own philosophy of learning and teaching. We look at our notions of how people learn and how should we teach based on their ways of knowing. I believe in the basic assumption that every individual learner is different. People learn in different ways under different circumstances. It depends on a person's specific context, culture, or even identity. Diversity is actually a common thread among learners. We have a different ways of processing things. We have a different ways of understanding the world around us. Every learner is neither a blank page nor an empty glass. We possess the basic tools and capacities to understand ourselves and the realities around us. Learning is not just about information and knowledge building, but learning should also be about transformation. We must not simply teach GCED to inform, but we must also teach GCED to transform. I look at GCED as an education for transformation where the desired outcome is to take action for change. We need to change ourselves, others, society towards a sustainable and peaceful global community. We need to put creativity at the heart of teaching GCED. We have to be able to provide various platforms and programs that will allow us to experiment, explore, and build an innovative community of global citizens. Creativity helps the learners discover and understand the world better. It actually facilitates reflective, critical, and innovative thinking. I also believe that creativity allows for the holistic development of the learners, both in the cognitive, socio-affective, and behavioral domains of learning and competency building for GCED. Creativity also humanizes the education process and the whole experience of it. And more importantly, I believe that creativity will lead us to addressing world's current problems through innovations and coming up with imaginative solutions. We also need to be able to adopt and translate into our teaching practice the key pedagogical principles of GCED. And I'm talking about 6 pedagogical principles. These are dialogue and participation, holism and integration, multimodal approach to teaching, values formation, critical empowerment, and the last is applicability and relevance. I'll go through each one at a time, no? So what do we mean by dialogue and participation? GCED requires us to shift from being teacher-centered to becoming learner-centered educators. We have to be able to engage our students in a genuine dialogue to discuss issues and learn things together in a participatory way. In a learner-centered environment, learning becomes a collaborative process between and among teachers and students. Students become active participants of knowledge building, and the teacher as facilitator of meaning making. To engage the students in a dialogue, we need to be able to set the appropriate modes, structures, and conditions for learning through creative participatory methodologies and processes. We at least have to allow students to actively participate in the learning process through dialogue, so they will be empowered to take action on the many social issues they learn in the classroom. GCED requires holistic learning and integrated approach to teaching. An integrated and holistic approach to teaching and learning GCED focuses on the interconnectedness of all relevant issues that affect people and the environment. It tries to analyze issues from different perspectives, taking into consideration learners' diverse contexts and ways of knowing. It actually encourages broader understanding of issues using multi- and interdisciplinary approach to teaching and learning. It should also aim for the holistic development of the learners in terms of building competencies around cognitive, socio-affective, and behavioral domains. GCED requires the use of multiple forms of pedagogical strategies to holistically engage our students, their minds, their heart, and even their spirit. As GCED teachers, we must use appropriate and creative medium for teaching. We can use multimedia forms like print, audiovisual presentations, digital media, films, and documentaries. Or we can also use arts-based methods such as music, visual arts, creative writing, drama, or dance and movement-based activities. I used a lot of this, no? We can also use simulation games and group dynamic games. The use of these multimodal teaching strategies provides personal freedom that allows for participation and facilitates transformative learning. GCED requires us to take action. It is not enough that we are aware of the realities around us, but we must be able to critically respond and seek solutions to address local and global challenges. GCED should motivate and empower learners to take action in promoting positive change, and we must be able to play an active role in transforming local communities and the global society. GCED requires a kind of pedagogy that is relevant and close to our learners' context. Our GCED content standards and pedagogical strategies must be appropriate, and it has to be grounded in the experience of people and communities. Together with our students, we have to be able to come up with relevant ideas and applicable ways to make a positive impact, both at the global and local level. For us to become effective catalysts of change, we need to be able to share relevant knowledge and practical skills to empower learners to apply this GCED knowledge in their daily lives. I actually use a lot of creative and transformative methods for teaching GCED. When I do my sessions, the first agenda at hand is to transform the classroom as an imagined playground and laboratory for knowledge building, skills development, and values formation on GCED. I call it a playground because I believe that learning has to be fun. I call it a laboratory because it's a space where we can experiment different concepts and test our own notions of how we look at our own realities. Group process is also a very important element. I believe in the power of collective processing and reflection. It actually helps you build a strong community of progressive thinkers. And I also use a lot of participatory theater-based games and activities as transformative methodological tools for learning and teaching the values of GCED. Being in a theater company, I use a lot of these games and activities that are theater-based. A good GCED teacher is an excellent facilitator of knowledge building that freely allows learners to make sense of their own realities. A good GCED teacher is an excellent classroom manager who knows how to install participatory discourse, collaboration, and cooperation in the classroom to change the competitive features of education. Instead, we substitute it to trust building and finding connections with everyone. A good GCED teacher is also an excellent catalyst for change that always carry with her or him the passion to equalize imbalances in the social dynamics or relationships and even the structures in the learning environment. This, to me, is what GCED pedagogy is all about. Teaching GCED is a continuum and a lifelong commitment. We teach to establish empowering education methodologies and processes that are grounded in the experience of people and communities. We teach to critically question the realities that affect people's lives. We teach so together we can find better solutions to transform societies into a more inclusive and just world. Thank you.